Welcome to My Long Island TV. From Manhasset to Montauk, we have traveled our communities to bring you the following events. I'm your host, Waldo Cabrera. My Long Island TV starts now.
We had a child come to the University of Alabama from Lagos, Nigeria, with a diagnosis that, had it been correct, she could have undergone complete corrective heart surgery and pretty much lived a normal life. Unfortunately, the diagnosis was incorrect. She, as a result of being 12 years of age, had incurred major damage to her lungs from this cardiac problem that she had, and we were not able to perform a corrective operation on her. The family was extremely appreciative of everything that had been done for them. From the humanitarian group that had gotten them to the university, to the care that they had received, and the explanations that they'd been provided by everybody at the university. And they didn't really care that we had not affected a change in their daughter's life. And I left that room, that hospital room, that afternoon with tears in my eyes. I was really quite distraught about the fact that, had we been able to get to that child when she was 1 or 2 years of age, we could have effected an operation that would have provided her with a normal lifespan. For the next 6 weeks, I had nightmares every night, woke me up. I had the reoccurring nightmare of running on a rocky surface with this child just out in front of me, and I'm trying to reach her, and she falls off the edge of the cliff. Well, after 6 weeks of this, I had a couple of my buddies from Columbia who were training at Alabama also come up to me and say, "Listen, you're not yourself. Why don't you fly to Columbia and operate on some Columbian kids for free and help us build our program?" Went home that night, told my wife. She said, "I think it's a great idea. When are you going to go? Because we really would like to have you back rather than the person you've become." I did not have another nightmare after that. I went into practice in Orlando, Florida, and we started bringing kids in from the Caribbean, and I received a call from a Croatian-American physician who's a pediatrician working in Orlando. And he said, "Listen, can we bring some of our kids over? You know, our country's been through a war. Our normal referral site was now our enemy. What are we going to do?" So I went back to this Croatian-American pediatrician and I said, "Listen, what about if we put a team together and went over and operated on a bunch of these kids at one time?" He called me back 2 days later and he said, "They would like to know when you're coming."
That's great.
And this started it, all of it. This was in, February of 1992, and we made our first trip to Croatia in April of 93. I just returned from our 200th trip.
To Croatia?
Around the world.
The thing I know the most is the video that we help edit. There was one real touching moment, is when a little girl slowly got up from her chair and she went over and gave you a peck in the cheek. That can't get old.
It doesn't get old, and actually, it's a humbling experience. You know, these kids, before they're operated on, some of them can't even walk 5 feet without getting breathless. Parents carry a lot of these kids around because they get fatigued so easily. And to have the children respond to the surgery to the point where you saw this child get out of the chair, walk over and give me a kiss, but you know, that's a wonderful feeling. But had you looked at her 2 days later, you would have seen her running wildly around the hospital floor, something this child has never been able to do. And it gives them a new lease on life, all these kids. And it's an incredible feeling. We're in the process of actually starting our first pediatric-cardiac center. We're raising funds now to build a center in Santiago, Dominican Republic, which will serve as a referral source not only for kids from Central America and the Caribbean, but also as an educational site for physicians from the Caribbean and Central America to come and learn at our center in Santiago. Our goal is over the next 12 years to set up 4 of these centers around the world, and to use these regional centers to continue to teach as well as operate on children and continue our mission programs as well.
Any final words for the people out there, words of encouragement?
Yeah, what I would say is it only cost you $1,700 to change somebody's future. think of it as that.